This is a quick review of Bill Mahers' new book, What This Comedian Said Will Shock You. Bill Mahers' goal, as stated in the book, is that armed with his common sense and using his comedic weapons of satire, irony, and sarcasm, he wants to create new ways of looking at America's liberal political narratives. Recognizing that Bill is a comedian, an appropriate question might be, why should we care? However, Bill does have a substantial audience and significant influence, especially with modern liberals. This review is focused more on the principles that form the foundation of what Bill is saying, more than a critique of the chapters and the content. The three main things that you need to know about Bill's common sense are, number one, what values and policies are associated with and are necessary for his common sense. For Bill's positions to make any sense, you have to first accept the primacy of individualism. Bill's common sense is linked to an ethic of justice based on equality. Meanwhile, Bill does voice a concern for all of the current, future, and non-sentient and sentient life, as he cares about the planet, other species besides our own species, and that we have a future. The second point is what institutions are associated with his common sense. A, democracy for our political systems and institutions, capitalism for our economic systems and institutions, and liberal humanism for our social and belief systems. The third point is that to address the biases that are associated with Bill's common sense. If we look a little deeper, I believe that the foundation for his common sense is stuck in the shallow, older concepts which don't support many of his ideas. Bill is not uncoupling himself from many of the sacrosanct values that are used to fortify the old white male supremacist worldview. Bill's ideas have 21st century roots, such as care for all, multicultural participation, old white group at the table are replaced, a recognition of the growing complexity of the 21st century, and far from the shallows now, and he appears to advance science most of the time. However, when you get into the statements in his book, his common sense is dominated by a belief in the liberal package, tainted with principles of male voice, and it ignores many of the new learnings of the 21st century cognitive sciences. So, what I am suggesting is that Bill needs to re-engineer his common sense, to consider not only the multicultural participation, but multicultural voice, which may challenge many of his comments about woke ideas. He has to consider the ramifications of complexity on our natural and so-called rational capabilities. He needs to address the issues talked about by Solnit in her quote, where she notes that the new worldview promotes interdependence, cooperation, and collaboration as we shift from hypercapitalism, which is associated with dominion, and social Darwinism, which is individualism. I think that the roots of this belief actually indicate the death of individualism, or the good of the one over many, the death of all our current myths, the death of competition, the death of the power without responsibility associated with the link between dominion and hierarchy, the death of zero-sum transactions, and the death of the liberal institutions. So a complete re-engineering of his common sense is necessary. Thank you.